Aloha, this is Jonathan. Welcome to Jonathan's Tarot. I just want to welcome all my new subscribers and thank my, not old subscribers, but thank my long-term subscribers for being here. So today, I just got this new deck. It is the Gregory Scott Tarot. Designed by Gregory Scott, artwork by Davide Corsi. Davide? I don't want to mangle the name. And it is a Scarabeo deck. So, I love when I have these quick and easy little tabs. Makes it so much easier to open these. Typical Scarabeo box. Let's see. Another one of those little tabbies, which is nice. There we go. So, let's see. Just making sure it's the proper. So here we have the Scarabeo little white book, which I'm assuming is the usual. I have English, Italiano, Español, Francais, Portuguese. A tarot of positive clarity. This deck has been devised and designed by tarot expert, reader, and YouTuber Gregory Scott with the artwork of Davide Corsi. Gregory wanted to create a deck that could be related with the 1,000 different faces of the tarot he faces every day during his practice and his videos. A tarot deck that could be constantly relatable, that could be immediate without losing depth, powerful without being aggressive, empowering without being condescending. In many ways, Gregory looked to create a deck that was real for real people, for real questions and real answers. What is behind a deck? A few concepts are shared by all cards of the deck following Gregory's tarot reading philosophy. Highlighting them may help understanding and using this deck at the best of its potential. They can be a useful food for thought for readers of any experience. Recognizability. The card should be easy to recognize. This is because behind every card there is an archetype, a strong and complex concept that is much wider than the simple meaning that we can attach to a card. Rather than spend energy trying to recognize and make sense of a card, the reader should be free to connect to his experiences and emotions, tuning in with the archetype behind the card. Positivity. The cards must always carry a positive energy. They need to push the reader and the querent to see things from a positive point of view, even in difficult situations. Hope is stronger than despair, after all. More importantly, only through a positive outlook we can find the motivation to cope with the difficulties and bring forward our most beautiful, or capable, or resilient, or creative self. The cards are always about us. What we see in the cards is a mirror of ourselves. Every card, even if it depicts a foreign and medieval-like place, in the end is talking about us. Of course, the connection is symbolic rather than literal. Maybe we are not forgetting a shield like the Three of Pentacles, or maybe we are not forging a shield like the Three of Pentacles, but we are just the same, working, struggling, and putting effort into something that is taking shape. Beauty. Every human being is beautiful. Every human being deserves to see himself or herself as beautiful, and every human being should see other people as beautiful as they should see themselves. Beauty is not always physical beauty, but after all, we all are able to see the beauty behind the surface, The card should help us in this endeavor. Then we have the usual how to use a deck, how to read tarot, quick 3-card spread, things you have, things you need, the thing that blocks you. And then we get into like quick little blurbs for each. And then, yeah, so the English is about 22 pages. Then you get to all the others, so it's a total of 63 pages total. Here we have the title card. These are the backs. And I like the yellow Scarabeo cardstock. It's flexible without being too thin. Let's get into it. Let's see what's going on there. A little piece of card, I guess. Okay. Here we have the Fool. Just walking along. La-di-da. Here we have the Magician with the 4 elements and lots of cherubs. The High Priestess. Missing those pomegranates, but that's okay. The Empress. That's definitely a different take on the Empress. The Emperor. Definitely all about the planning. Interesting that here we have the Hierophant as a child. And I don't see... Oh, I see. The cross keys are on the guy's clothing. Here we see the Lovers. Lots of cherubs. The Chariot. One thing I haven't seen any of is diversity in this deck so far. Strength. That is a very interesting take on strength. Got lightning and barbed wire wrapped around the thoughts. Huh. Here we have the Hermit. Very young hermit again. Here we have the Wheel. Interesting take. You got the heaven and angels on top and hell and the devils down below. Justice. That's... I'm not sure how I feel about that Justice card. Is that trying to talk about Macbeth or something? Because I'm not even sure what that's referencing. Here we have the Hanged Man. Death. That's very interesting. Death card. Just a beautiful meadow. Just an empty meadow. Definitely some very interesting takes on cards here, isn't there? Temperance. Huh. I keep saying that a lot, don't I? Just out of curiosity, let's see. Does this even... They don't even talk about reversals here, do they? So, their temperance card here. Let's jump back to death, because that's very interesting. Here we see emptiness. Only an empty cup can be filled. Only an empty landscape can give freedom. Death is not an end. It is not just closure. It is transformation. It is a blank slate for our future selves. So these don't have reversal meanings, do they? Even though the backs are reversible. And then here, temperance. We have one as many and many as one. We are not just one simple person. Within ourselves, both in our spirit and in the roads we face for the future, we can be many things. We can pursue spirit, success, love, and yet our true self will always be a balance of it all. Definitely interesting take on the tarot, that's for sure. Guess I should keep this handy. So here we have the devil. He's trapped in a bell jar, right? Blocked, imprisoned. The strongest chains are those we have forged for ourselves. They are addictions, wounds, prejudices, and they all block ourselves from going forward. They let us like people we don't want to be. And yet they are so hard to shake away. Here we have the Tower. Well, that's an interesting take on the star, isn't it? It's like the Little Mermaid drinking the potion to become human. The moon. A thorny path. When we feel lost, everything seems dangerous, and our road is full of shadows and thorns, but they are just phantom images created by our imagination that feeds on our fears and insecurity. The moon is bright, and even in the shadows there is light for the brave of heart. Here we have the sun. Interesting that the sun itself is the signs of our astrology signs, sorry. Judgment. What is important? A time of judgment is not always forced from outside. We need to be able sometimes to look at ourselves and draw a balance of what we are, what we have done, and what we have achieved. Things that always seemed important maybe will be left behind, and that will bring a sense of relief rather than loss. So there's definitely a new take on some of these cards. And then here we have the World. Potential fulfilled. The young kid that once was the magician is all grown up, and he has matured experience. His power has become achievement. His potential has become something tangible. There is a happy ending, after all, to all journeys. So, let's see real quick. So instead of it being the Fool, it has these two are supposed to be the same person. Huh. Very intriguing, is it not? And the four suits have changed around, right? Very interesting, the take on here. I'm a little disappointed in the lack of diversity in this day and age, but I mean, this is, I don't know. It's just disappointing to not see any diversity at all. But I guess it's better than token diversity. So now we go into the cups. That is a beautiful ace of cups. I do like that. Here we have the two of cups. Three of cups. Oh, look. There's a random diverse guy. Why was there no diversity in the majors? And is this going to be like the token black guy? Because I hope not. Here we have four of cups. That's an interesting take. Does this say much here? A magic moment. Magic is powerful and yet is sometimes strange. Maybe it's because it is so difficult to replicate, and magical moments, once gone, seem gone forever. Maybe it is because it changes us, yet magic takes out mundanity to give it something greater. After all, mundanity is not so important, isn't it? Okay, it's not the traditional Four of Cups meaning, is it? Oh, but here we have a somewhat traditional Five of Cups, but it's interesting that she's dressed like a bride, huh? Married to her grief. Six of Cups. Seven of Cups. That's a different take on the seven. Fantasy world. Okay. There's a time to lock on reality, and there is time to sidestep and wander with the mind, with the heart, with the gaze of a child that needs to find wonder in everything. That's a different take on the seven. Here we have the Eight of Cups. That's different as well, isn't it? Looking back, sometimes on the road of life we happen to glance back and suddenly remember the things we have left behind. Are they still part of us, or have they been truly lost to gain what we have now? Yeah, there's definitely a different take on the tarot in these. And then here we have Nine of Cups. Almost looks more like the Ten of Cups normally does, doesn't it? But something to cherish. There are beautiful things in life. There are things to be happy of. They're a part of perfection, and they are complete in their own way, even if they will turn and change and evolve. Okay. There's definitely a difference. So here we have the Ten of Cups. That's more traditional. Inner and outer harmony. The harmony within oneself could reflect in the world outside, and the harmony outside can affect the harmony within. We are both ourselves and part of something greater at the same time. And then the suit, or the court cards, are very short. So here we have Page of Cups. There's no fish involved, and he's got a rose whose petals are falling. So what do they say? First love, emotional yearning, a need for love that can't be quenched. Love is a tale we need to live as a protagonist. Okay. Here we have the Knight of Cups. Cleansing, emotional action. Purification turns us into a clean slate that is ready to accept new feelings and love. Yeah, so far that Three of Cups is the only person of color I've seen in here. Queen of Cups looks like she's a mermaid. Caring, emotional understanding, love is giving, it is taking care, nourish, and abandon selfishness for selflessness. I guess she's using her magic to heal this poor injured human. And then here we have King of Cups. Smiling, emotional maturity, to live emotions fully. It's not always necessary to let them rule over ourselves. We can channel them and find a balance between them and life. There's a little, it looks like there's a slight sheen from the light, but in person they're not too glary. Interesting that they changed the Ace of Pentacles into a crown. And then here, the waves are on his clothing. That's an interesting take on it. And the limnus is under his feet. Three of Pentacles. We have a woman smith making a shield. Four of That's a very strange image, isn't it? What's it say? Obsession. Many things can act as a golden cage, but all they leave us with a sense of loss and despair. Unwillingness to give away our chain is a foolish but natural act. Okay. Five of Pentacles. Exclusion. Six of Pentacles. A reign of good things. Seven of Pentacles looks a little more like the Nine of Pentacles to me, but it says, reap what you sow. Here we have the blacksmith. He makes armor, but he's currently making horseshoes. A horseshoe. Creative soul. So there's definitely a different take on the meanings of the cards. Here we have the Nine. The Peace of Abundance. Ten of Pentacles. We have a family portrait being painted. A moment in time. Page. Interesting that it's like a street urchin stealing a loaf of bread. Indolence, material yearning. The lack of the simple things can put us in grave distress. It is only when our basic needs are somewhat fulfilled that we can look forward with confidence. Okay. That's interesting, So the Knight is temptation, material action. Everything is emotion, as it is a continual exchange. However, what drives us should be our own volition and not obsession or greed. Things have meaning and not just value. Definitely different take on these, isn't it? So Queen of Pentacles got that cornucopia spilling out everything around her. Richness, material understanding. And then here we have the King. Opulence, material maturity. Looks like his armor's made of gold, as is his throne. Now we go into Wands. Here's the Ace of Wands. Creative abundance, energy, energy, energy. It is flowing and it can achieve everything and illuminate anything to change what is common in what is marked. So, what is common in what is marked? Some of these translations are not very good English. Two of Wands. The wands themselves look like they're trees. She is holding a crystal ball, it looks like. The world in your hand. Three of Wands. Huh. The Gates of Fortune. Four of Wands. Looks like a wedding. So here, Five of Wands is training. A mock battle, a competition, is what trains us to face real challenges. Also, it teaches us teamwork, as many sheep can scare off a wolf. So 4 against 1, I guess. That's interesting. Six of Wands looks like the typical, the herald, bringer of news, bringer of change, bringer of fortune. Seven of Wands, achievement. A cliff worth to climb cannot be small and comfortable, but every road is like any other. No matter how steep, it will be conquered one step at a time, until suddenly you will find yourself at the top of the mountain. So this is not the typical 7 where they are already up there. This is the start of the path up the top of the mountain, I guess. Interesting. Here we have 8 of Wands, which they call bullseye. Doesn't matter how many times you fail, as long as you trust your energy and drive, you will reach your objective. If you fail, just retry, because failure is normal. Yeah, there's definitely a different take on a lot of these. Like here, 9 is victory, which is more what I would think 6 would be, right? Overcoming challenges and rivals. Victory is the reward, not just of a single moment, but of a whole journey. It is a feeling and a prize at the same time, changing both the inner and outer world. Huh. 10 of Wands, that's interesting, huh? Joyful burden. Not all things that bring joy are light and easy, and not all things that are burdensome are lifeless and ugly. Effort is part of happiness, as much as happiness is part of drive that is needed for success. Huh. This is its own system, it seems like. It's not quite what I would... It's not really RWS, it's not Thoth, it's definitely its own thing. Page of Wands, longing, creative yearning. Knight of Wands, sweating, creative sweating creative action. Hey, that almost looks like Captain America and the Avengers. I forgot to silence my phone. Sorry about that. Queen of Wands. She's on a stage. That's a new take. Performing. Creative understanding. And then King of Wands. We have triumphing. Creative maturity. Definitely a different take on the tarot. I would have to reference the Little White Book a lot more. And there's no reversals written up for these either, even though it says some people use reversals. So it's like if you're going to change things up, at least give what you think the reversal should be if you're going to change the meaning of the card. Here we have Ace of Swords, intellectual abundance. Two of Swords. What is going on here? At the edge of a precipice. There are moments where a single wrong word or action may cause irreparable damages. There is power in restraint, but there is even more power in sincerity. Is he wanting to save her or push her? Three of Swords. It's interesting because the swords are an image on a tapestry behind her, but she's obviously still having heartache as she clutches her heart, right? Suffering. Virtual innocence cannot save people from pain. Pain is part of the game, and we call life. It often comes from outside events over which we have little control. Healing, however, starts from inside ourselves. Let me just silence my phone real quick. It just keeps beeping at me. Sorry about that. Whoa. That is a much different Four of Swords, isn't it? That's not what I consider restful. Threat and menace. Sometimes we live in anxiety, like everything can collapse and overcome us, which we have little way to act and avoid such a menacing doom, like between the pit and the pendulum. That's not my Four of Swords. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of different changed meanings here. What the heck is this? Five of Swords. Guy's pouring wine on this guy's head. Submission. Anxiety brings us to see the world as a place of winners and losers. When we are among the first, we forget how we feel when we lose. And when we lose, we forget that we still have the right to raise our chin. Okay, I guess that kind of does fit the meaning of the Five of Swords, but that is, wow. Six of, wow. He's being attacked by smoke, demons, and imps, it looks like. Murky waters. Another source of conflict is confusing. When things are not clear and our vision impaired, everything, even if inconsequential, takes the shape of a danger. And yet we need to strive forward and evade the murky waters to find clarity anew. This is a very interesting deck. It's not the typical tarot meaning for the most part. I mean, you still get a thief here in Seven of Swords, subterfuge. Gems are difficult to acquire if everyone can see how valuable they are. Sometimes one needs to act in the shadows, using cunning and deception to reach what is truly worth to reach. The language, I don't know if it was like translated from Italian, but Eight of Swords, Falling Dawn. The feeling when every stable point fails us and we have nothing to stand upon. Everything comes crashing, starting with ourselves, but is often like a vertigo, an illusion of the mind and nothing more. I'm perplexed by this deck. Yeah, it's a very typical Nine of Swords image. It says nightmares. Okay, that's similar. Well, that's an interesting take on the 10. It's like she's laying there on the floor reading, and the mirror is reflecting the swords across the way, so it looks like it's stabbing down at her. Two sides. Many people, including us, have inner pains. We should never judge a book by its cover. What a smile can hide is maybe suffering and despair. We need sensibility and not presumption, even with ourselves. This is definitely a different style of tarot than what I'm used to. Page of Swords, experimenting, intellectual yearning. Knight of Swords. Arguing, intellectual action. Yikes. That's kind of a scary picture. I just noticed the men hanging in the background. Queen of Swords. Pruning, intellectual understanding. Sometimes it's necessary to compartmentalize, to exclude some things, usually unpleasant things, to have an untainted space where good things can grow. What? This is a very interesting deck, to say the least. Here we have King of Swords, and looks like the words are flowing up his hand there. Bring it a little closer to show you. Writing, intellectual maturity. Laws are a burden because they limit ourselves as much as they regulate others. Yet it must be a welcome burden because the only alternative to law is the sword. Well, I don't know what to think of this deck. The artwork is gorgeous, I will say that, but the way that the meanings have been changed, I'm not used to having to reference the book, and I would have to with this deck because so much is different. And the other thing that I don't really, well, let's just say it rubs me the wrong way that there's a random token black guy and there's no other diversity in the whole deck. That bothers me. I mean, the only thing I can say positive about this deck is it's got great artwork, gorgeous artwork, but I almost wish they had just stuck to something a little more traditional, because this deck is it's different. It's not, it's its own thing, first of all, and just to have that like random token black guy in the Three of Cups, it's like, okay, we're gonna invite the black guy in for a party but forget him for the rest of it. I mean, that's just like a slap across the face. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be polite and say nice things about this deck because that really bothers me. I really wanted to like this deck because I saw cards, some of the images, and like I said, I love the artwork. The artwork by Davide Corsi it's gorgeous, but I mean, look, that's the Empress card. I mean, what is that? That's so. Yeah, let me know if you have this deck, what you think of it, and kind of at a loss for words here. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about this deck. It's a stretch. That's the best thing I can say. It's a stretch. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I look forward to reading your thoughts. And until next time, aloha.